Panthers Nation, what up, though? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, bringing you breaking news fresh out of Charlotte. Carlos Dunlap, the free agent defensive end formerly with the Seattle Seahawks last year, is officially in town visiting the Carolina Panthers. Yes, where there is smoke, there could be fire, because according to Josina Anderson, today was just for a physical. Tomorrow he'll be meeting with coaches. Obviously, minicamp starts on Tuesday, so this could be a good sign. With Carlos Dunlap being a North Charleston prospect himself, coming out of high school, ended up going to the University of Florida, drafted by the Bengals, ended up bouncing around a couple times. Carlos Dunlap has actually had a pretty good career overall, closing in on 100 sacks. But even this past year, at the age of 33, he was able to tally up 8.5 sacks. Now, you may be saying, okay, 8.5 sacks, he's 33 years old, he could be washed. He played in all 17 games last year, only started 2 of them, so he was a rotational piece, but still was able to amass 8.5 sacks. And the crazy part about it is the majority of these came down the stretch. If you look at his game-by-game stats, it tells the whole story. 8 of those sacks came in the last 6 weeks of the season. If you look at the first game of December, from then on, he just went on a tear, getting sacks after sacks after sacks. And pause. This guy was very productive down the stretch. And it's like, okay, what's going on? He's this old. What's going on? I have to dig into the tape to see that a little bit more. Nevertheless, some people are like, oh, he's a free agent for a reason. I mean, at this point, if you can get him for the vet men with a guy at his size is 6'6", 285, we've been looking for somebody on the edge that can be strong to pick up the slack from where Hassan Reddick left off. Now, 8.5 sacks and 8 of them in 6 games, that's pretty good production, but I think we needed to get bigger up front anyway to hold tighter against the run. Obviously, we have Brian Burns on the opposite side, and the search for somebody on the opposite end to replace Hassan continues, but this could be big. Now, what does this tell me about what we currently have on the roster? Because we heard last week they asked about Marquise Haynes and YGM. Now, according to YGM, I've named him in my video of me having the most pressure on him because he needs to perform. This is an indictment on that. Matt Rhule has some comments about him saying that Etor can be productive. He just has to stay healthy. He's had trouble staying healthy his whole career. It's been one of the biggest things holding him back. And even most recently in OTAs, YGM was out, injured. So it's like the injuries keep piling up, and can he be trusted? From Marquise Haynes' standpoint, Phil Snow had some comments about him last week. I'll play the comments right here.
Marquise has the ability to rush the passer. I think one of the things that's hurt him a little bit is his power game rushing. He's really a speed guy. So we asked him to put on some weight, and he's around 250 now.
They told him to even gain 10 more pounds, so he's up in the 250 range, a little bit closer to where Brian Burns is. Nevertheless, having those two guys on opposite edges could be a liability on the run when it comes to the running game for other teams, especially these big offensive lines in our division. Nevertheless, I think putting Marquise Haynes behind Brian Burns in the rotation is the best way to go. Getting a bigger guy like YGM, or even bringing in Dunlap to start and rotate with YGM and Frankie Louvu and Marquise Haynes from time to time also is the best way to go. This is a huge indictment on YGM and Marquise Haynes, feeling how the team may feel about them. If they feel like this is the weak spot on this defense, like I've voiced my opinion before on this channel about the defense possibly taking a step back because of Hassan Reddick being gone, this helps me feel a lot better about that, because not only do you have a little bit of production, he's a little bit older, he should probably be cheap. Not to mention he's huge. 6'6", 285. You don't move that pretty easy. He can rush standing up. He can rush on the edge like a linebacker or a DN stand up. He can do a little bit inside just because of the size he has. Carlos Dunlap has a lot of versatility. Even at the age of 33, I think he will be a great addition to this Panthers team as we continue to add stuff and add players to this roster and to continue to get better. Like I said, we'll find out for sure. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but when the news does break, best believe I will let you guys know on the channel, because this could be big for us. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Like I said, day one was all about the physical. If he passes the physical and the numbers sound okay when he talks to the coaches tomorrow, obviously, we will have a lot more information. I'm sure they'll put pen to paper at this point in the league with mandatory minicamp starting this week for most teams. Most free agents are going to be trying to get into buildings now. Obviously, anytime before training camp, you should be good. Nevertheless, getting a guy like here in this to learn, and we have some vet coaches that are a lot more respected in this program where a vet like him, and Carlos Dunlap, will respect him a lot more. It feels pretty good, because you may not get this type of cachet or get these type of visits unless you have a guy like Scott Fitter who spent some time in Seattle with him. Or you have a guy like the Paul Pasqualoni, the defensive line coach, who's been around the block, who can speak to certain guys and teaches them different ways. There's it's a different vibe around this team. So being able to pick up veteran pieces later feels pretty good, especially when you know that this team as a whole is not really a Super Bowl contender. You know what I'm saying? They're still kind of in a rebuild phase. So being able to get vets to commit to that, even on one-year deals, feels pretty good at this point. So I'm feeling pretty confident about Carlos Dunlap coming in, being signed officially, and being able to help this team tremendously. You guys let me know down below in the comments, how do you feel about Carlos Dunlap being added potentially to this team? Do you remember him from his days in South Carolina playing high school ball? I do myself. That's a little bit before some of y'all time maybe, but he's before my time, just 2 years before. But I do remember how great of a guy Carlos Dunlap was. I remember his production at Florida, and I've been following his career pretty closely throughout the pros, obviously, because he's a South Carolina product from the so gotta love it there. But nevertheless, you guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about it. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell icon. That way you get notification every time I drop a video. I'm Aaron Duncan signing off. I'll see you next time. Peace.